What's up, everybody? Welcome to the RECOOP. I'm your host, Cooper Daniels, and today is Thursday, May 1st. What's going on? How are you doing? Got my coffee. Casual Thursdays. Wearing a hat. There he is. I got my second monitor. How are you guys doing? I was listening to the Algorand transparency space for much of this morning. I didn't even know it was going on, just was looking for a space. And I thought, oh, look at that. There's 100 people in this space. This is a big Algorand space. What's going on? And then it was Stacy. I picked it up right as Stacy was spanking John from NFD and Ready for wanting to talk about Ready funding. It felt like a spanking, folks. Did it feel like a spanking to you? I felt spanked. I felt him getting spanked. Folks, look, there's a lot to say about that space. Look, I can recap for some of you that maybe missed it or you're going to listen to it later. Some of the more interesting things that I heard about, that recapped because I guess it happened before I jumped in, and the things that I actually heard. One of the main things that I heard is that Stacy plans to step down potentially in 2026 as CEO. In the spirit of decentralization, she believes that the board should have community representation, and that's something that they're looking into. What else? That they sold all that algo with the intention of essentially making Algorand Technologies based out of Boston, where Silvio is, I guess, de facto CEO still. Not sure. We're not hearing anything from Algorand Technologies anymore. It makes sense that there may have been discussions about them shutting doors, and then they were selling all of this algo in order to make a competitive offer to the developers that are over there, to bring them over and bring them into the fold of Algorand Foundation. Apparently, this deal fell through. And so now they're essentially short algo because they have a ton of USDC on their balance sheet. But she assured everybody, apparently, I didn't hear this part, that this will result in less selling moving forward. Okay. I mean, look, all of these things are good. Well, I don't know about the Inc. closing doors and just joining under the foundation umbrella. She mentioned that she wanted the home base of Algorand to continue to be the United States, which I didn't actually hear this part, which would be complicated by the fact that the foundation is based out of Singapore. But in the end, this deal didn't happen. And I don't know why. But it does beg the question, what is Algorand Technologies really doing? Like, what's going on? Algorand Technologies, what are you doing? So, I mean, look, she says she's going to step down from CEO. She wants to incorporate some sort of community voice on the board, like a very shadowy board. Is her. It's her and some guys that none of you have ever heard of. That John or Fisherman.algo, I think, appropriately mentioned that, or maybe it was even Patrick, that none of them probably have a Parawallet and potentially don't even know what a Parawallet is. So yes, there should be some community representation. I'll tell you what I find most disturbing. And it's for a similar reason to why I find Donald Trump floating a third term disturbing. Because whether or not he's joking and just trolling the libs with his third term, doubtful, by the way, he probably really does want to do that. At the very least, all of the floating of it, the hats, the people mentioning it, the justification, the bills that will never actually get passed. What that is de facto doing is making people used to the idea of a third term, which, if you're from this country, that's an absurd thing because you always just get 2 terms, or at least in our lifetime. And it was unspoken for a long time, and then it actually got changed in the Constitution. What I keep on hearing, and I heard it from Stacy today, and we heard it from Eric Ragg before, is that they're at a crossroads because eventually 50 years, 100 years, 375 years in the future, we got to start planning. We got to start planning on how Algorand sustains itself. Now, currently, the foundation is using their algos to incentivize consensus. This is a new thing. This is a new thing that they've changed the protocol so that there are rewards for consensus. So this isn't something that I find to be damaging. I think that Silvio had an idea, had a bet on the usage that could come from Algorand, and unfortunately, there's a ton of competitors, and the usage and the demand hasn't actually materialized. So in order for people to actually keep Algorand decentralized and censorship resistant and live, there needs to be an incentive to run a node and participate in Algorand consensus. And that is what has become. But eventually, with the way Algorand is currently constructed, fees will have to be the reason why people run nodes, which puts Algorand between a rock and a hard place. Because if you raise fees too much, then then it's not competitive. And if it already is lagging in adoption and usage, and you start raising fees, then you're going to just put. Somebody's texting me. Okay, good. You guys can hear me, right? Oh, there's JT. What's up, JT? Hello, Ludo. Anyways, we'll get to the chat. But if you're going to raise fees in something that is already struggling for adoption, then that could only hinder it and just make less people want to use Algorand. So the solution, I think, that they're trying to get us used to is raising the supply cap and allowing for an inflationary type of system like an Ethereum, a Polkadot, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if that has anything to do with why Algorand Technologies in the end decided not to send over the source code to the foundation, because they've already changed Silvio's vision of consensus. Now, are they worried that the foundation, this is pure speculation, are they worried that the foundation is going to lift the supply cap? I mean, why would they be worried? Didn't they sell all their algo? Are they still invested in this? I mean, where are they, by the way? Where's Gary Maloof? Where is Silvio on Algorand? Specifically in technology specifically, it would be really cool, especially since this theoretical, or this, I guess, deal that fell through between foundation and technologies. I would love to hear where Algorand Technologies stands on all this. Maybe we'll hear it. What do you guys got? But anyways, that's my concern. My concern is that they're trying. Eric Ragg was floating the idea of inflation, and now Stacy was floating the idea of that's one of the two kind of options. And then thankfully we had D13 chime in. I think he decided that he wanted to add to that conversation because he's brainstorming, actually bringing MEV to Algorand and then getting that sort of arbitrage and that the ability for people to pay more for a quicker, get in the front of the line type of transaction setup. That's better than raising the supply cap. But I sympathize with the solution, but I sympathize with the problem. But I'm just like, you can feel it, right? And this is like, people don't like it when I do this, because they say, well, you don't know. But it's like, okay, fine, I don't know. I don't know anything, to be honest. Like, what do I know? And what do you know? What does Stacy know? But I can feel when they're trying to get me used to an idea. And the idea is that they want us to be used to the idea of lifting this cap. Now, do you know who that hurts? That hurts all of you. That's it. That's the only people that, because they'll know when that is coming. It hurts all the people that have been in this community for a long time and have been stacking algo, knowing that eventually it'll be fully distributed. And if there's demand for the network, then their tokens are going to go up. It's impossible for that not to happen if there's a supply cap. Now, if they lift the supply cap and they keep on moving the bar, then that, there's a whole slew of reasons why that might not work. And as much as I want to be like, okay, it's great. Stacy says that she'll step down in 2026. She says that she wants to incorporate, a community voice on the board. They're going to build the best governance system. And even though she doesn't think it needs to be truly decentralized, they're going to do it anyways because we're annoying. I don't know. It's how I hear it. And they're people like John. John seemed to recover from seemed to recover from the way she spoke to him, for him to dare confront her on something that was personal to him. It seems like he recovered, but in that moment, and I listened and it got better, but I felt it made me uncomfortable, to be honest. It made me feel like, this is some bullshit, to be honest. I mean, that's how I felt. This feels like a shitty way to talk to your community, especially to your builders that have, Ready has about 13% of the stake supply on their platform. It's a great tool that they're not even, haven't even incorporated fees. It's a public good type of situation. And they don't feel like they've been treated well. And they can't get a good answer. They just got rejected after having to wait over a month. And then he decides to confront her on it and get a good answer. And she straight up went, how dare you on him. And I'm like, damn, thank God Fish has probably got huge bags. And he believes in the technology and the community and all that. Because, some different types of people might listen the way that she was talking to him and be like, you know what? Fuck you. Because it sounded like that's what she was saying to him. That's just me peeing under the table. I'm so committed to this, guys. You know what I'm saying? I don't even get up for a piss. Very bad bladder. It's only been on the show's only 16 minutes long. I won't. 5 of that was just the intro, guys. Anyways, whoa, you guys got a lot of shit. Let's talk to the chat. Here we go. This is what I like to see. Wilder says, finally made the open. Let's fucking go, Troop. Yeah. Caddy Smooth, there he is. Caddy Smooth is in the building. Oh man, I just picture this guy. I hope you got a caddy. I hope it's clean. And every time I see like a Cadillac go by in a smooth way, I think, I wonder if that's Caddy Smooth. Anyways, what's up, GG? Bitcoin is doing 95% of the blockchain transactions currently. And Bitcoin, our man is talking about Satoshi Vision. Coop, what's going on? Yo, Coop, what's going on? What's up, Chris? Ice Age Trails, afternoon Coopsters. We got to we got to give away some ammo. See if we do that. We'll definitely do that tomorrow if we don't do it today. I keep on pushing that. It's because I'm secretly trying to keep your ammo, bro. No, I'm not. I'm going to give it away. From 2021, where it was 70% of supply not in circulation, we are in a safer spot right now. Good morning, good evening. What's up, Mel? Here I am in Canada, and the Liberals pull off a miracle in the polls, and we get a 4th term of them. Upside down emoji. Yeah, well, there you go. He's saying we just keep on getting the same bullshit. Hello, Ludo. What's going on? JT's in the building. Taco, what's good morning? And then Chris. Okay, now we're getting into the talk. I don't think raising the supply cap is a good idea. Mano says, makes sense what you're saying because that's what FTM did. FTM had a fixed supply and moved to an inflation model with Sonic. GG says, Algo isn't decentralized. Algo Foundation has a shit ton of algos. Raising the cap will only just reaffirm it's not decentralized. It's the same with other layer ones that minted coins. Now that is the issue, folks. That's the issue, and that's what everybody was saying for Bitcoin is like, oh, you know, in the early days of me being an Algorand supporter, like, oh, you think you have a fixed supply? Okay, well, when they figure out how to, you know, get the source code from technologies, that's all they have. They can just do it. I guess they probably need the nodes. I don't know. Everybody do agree on some level. Algo isn't okay. We already went to that. Personally, from an economics perspective, I prefer manageable supply and fees instead of standard supply, but that needs efficient governance. For example, what we have been living the past decades, a little bit about a lot. For the moment, I believe more like some killer app or stuff happening could help. And yes, fees is the same for every blockchain in my mind, or maybe infrastructure for businesses and procedures where you don't even realize you're using a blockchain. GovHat says uncapping supply is worth considering, but must come with the corresponding burn mechanic to have a dynamic supply, inflation on low activity, deflation on high activity. Yeah, like what they do on ETH and everywhere. Sorry for spam. No spam. You're just sharing your thing. I mean, some people would do that. LOL. Yeah. Oh, Chris is talking about the whole FU thing. God bless the coop. Thank you, Hendrick's poem. But yeah, at the moment, changing the standard supply, I think, wouldn't attract the current type of blockchain investors. Thinking loudly might be wrong, of course. And of course, I might be wrong. You know, look, I'm just saying I can feel when somebody's trying to get me used to an idea. If they raise the cap, you must rename Algo because that ain't Algo anymore. Unless you take a shit at the table, I still doubt your conviction. Unless you take a shit at the... Oh. Yes. Well, you know what? I saw on Twitter a lady in a road rage incident. And I didn't actually click on it, but I did see the dookie on the hood. I mean, if you ever find yourself in such a road rage where you're outside of your car and pulling down your pants because you're going to take a shit on somebody's hood, I don't know, reconsider it. I drive a 4Runner. I like 4Runners. Good job. Ammo on Void Network. That's right. Lunch break is ending, but enjoy dropping in for a bit. Hope everyone has a good rest of the day. Okay. Well, we did it. I mean, look, dude. I mean, folks. I mean, gals. Is there? Hello. Hi, gals. I don't know. It's like, you know, she says these things. They're gonna be representation on the board, and she's gonna step down. And they tried to buy the thing, and now they're gonna sell less. It's just like, okay, what, 2026, 2027? It's just like, how long are people gonna stick around for all this? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, I it probably seemed based on my tweets yesterday about this stuff that I'm like really upset about it in some way, and I'm not. I'm just reaffirming what I've been saying for years, and I don't see it. I just don't see the progress. I don't see the adoption. The whole point of the Algorand Foundation is to create adoption. I don't see it. I just see. I mean, look, I understand what you guys are saying, that the FIFA deal was a Inc. deal. It was a technologies deal. I mean, a lot of these bigger acquisitions were through technologies, and poor foundation must deal with the backlash. But look, they invested in Hizab Pay. That was a good investment, it seems. I'm concerned about TravelX. I hope that everything's all good there, because I'm pretty sure Borderless is a major investor in TravelX, and they've already seemingly pulled away Agro Token, and has really been emphasizing on moving things to Solana. So, I mean, I'm hoping that TravelX remains important and integral to the Algorand ecosystem, because outside of Hizab Pay and TravelX, I'm starting to like, and of course outside of the community, which is the backbone of Algorand. The reason why, as I go explore other ecosystems, I'm like, holy shit, like this is actually special. This isn't because we just live in a bubble, the Algorand community. You know, it's actually an asset. And that's why I get pissed when a leader of that community, like Fish, I don't know. I mean, maybe you think it's annoying that he was bringing up his personal business dealings in the space. And I mean, that's a fair, I guess that's a fair judgment. But I don't know. I just, the real value in this community, and then the foundation was smart enough to hire a lot of these really cool community members like D13, who came through with a good counterpoint to the problem between either raising the cap or raising the fees, and obviously has built a cool protocol where it encourages community coins and community participation and consensus, and supports different communities throughout a larger community. How many times can I say the word community? My point really is, and then you have people like NF Domains and that creating like ready pools, which helps the community gather together and stake in consensus in a decentralized way. And then obviously their domain names, very kind of, they've been around forever and they're part of it, but they are also very community oriented. They're in the chats. They're very active. These are good people. Even like you have Folks Finance. These guys are certainly at the more institutional level of Algorand, but there's a community sense, even though they've, in a lot of ways they've become more cross-chain at this point. I don't know what I'm really saying, other than the fact that there actually is, when NFTs mattered, there was a good, and they still, maybe they'll matter again, but at this point, they don't really have the shine that they once did. But there was an active, talented NFT scene in Algorand, like a really good one. Like there's still guys that are not giving up on their awesome projects, right? Like Stitch and, Mingo. And, a lot of people don't like him, but like Awana and Benji and like Shitty Kitties, and like I could go on and on and on. Native, all of these people, maybe you don't like them, maybe you don't think that their politics are great, maybe you don't like their hot takes, but they're active and they're talented and they're good at this. And then in the meme coin things, there's actual activity, there's actual building. Coop is a great example of that. Akita is another good example of that. Monko is a good example of that. I'll go on and on and on and on. And there's also like a scam syndicate. And that's that's not necessarily to be celebrated, but it just shows that there's a big enough community for a scam syndicate. My point is, and these people are funny. There's people like GovHat out there that's smart, cares, funny, whatever, I don't know. My point is that they have this group that actually is committed and really wants to see Algorand succeed. So I get defensive. I don't like it when I feel like, she just seems like a mean boss that you don't want to confront, when really they're supposed to be of service to the community. And Algorand, of course, create adoption. This is why when they lose $50 million at HODLNOT and try to laugh it off, like she earned her stripes, and then there's no repercussions for that type of shit, and then there's no real progress on adoption, everybody seems to make a million excuses because of how legit she seems. I just don't see it. I don't see it. And I'm not going to sit here and always talk about this. I won't. And I get it. So many of you probably like, oh my God, fucking Cooper, bringing up HODLNOT again. Jesus, shut the fuck up about HODLNOT. I don't know why that sticks out to me so much. It's because my wife doesn't say a whole lot about this stuff, except for fuck you for making me ever buy algo. I didn't make her. She just decided to. But when her reason for selling algo was based on the tweet that I read her after they lost to $50 million. She was like, holy shit. Like that she's not going to be fired for that. And just her, like she was so incredulous. And I kind of was like, yeah, it is kind of weird. So I guess I've kind of held on to it. Who cares? Yeah, now you know. Thanks, Dax. I appreciate you. Did it do ammo boy lunch break ending? Can you pump the shit out of Algorand? You are our only hope. Oh, bros. If I were your only hope, then there would be some support from these people that I keep on yelling about. I sometimes I'm like, holy shnikes, around the same exact time. And I get that he's more organized and was probably more effective, but I am more active on Polkadot, and just like around the same time, and the same kind of guy, I guess he's like an actor from Toronto. I didn't know that, but the Kuz guy or whatever his name is on Polkadot, he got so wealthy off of the purse from Polkadot Treasury, and I indeed did not. I got nothing. I got a couple of trips to moderate a couple of panels. But yeah, if I were so important, I'd probably be treated differently. And so I have come to the conclusion that I'm not important. I wasn't ever treated like I was important. I was treated as if I was lucky to have a communication line to anybody. And then even when John Woods wanted to do something with me, he couldn't get it done because they didn't want me to be part of it. They wanted a different look. They wanted Jessica, the Nike chick, to come in, and she was going to do a wonderful corporate overhaul, get us all some shoes. And then all of a sudden, old shoe gal, probably with a wonderful paycheck, was gone within months. So now wonderful paychecks go to people like Eric Ragg. I mean, I could be mad about it. I'm not, but I'm just telling you, I'm not important to the success of Algorand, and I've been treated as such. Not by you guys. That's the only reason I'm here. And that's why I think it's so important. Because if I didn't think that the community was good, you think I would still be talking about fucking Algorand? Nobody cares about Algorand outside of out of a great community. And a growing amount of people are starting to see it as an opportunity, I suppose. But I'm just saying, it's not like I'm making money off of this for the most part. But yeah. But thank you for saying that, man. Get him Coop, waiting years for accountability and voting. I mean, it was brutal. I'm sorry. I know that the moderators absolutely didn't do this to bank on Algorand on purpose. But when Stacy heard that Bank on Algorand was coming up, she got out of there real quick. And this is what I'm saying, man. Like, look, maybe that wasn't intentional. But yeah, right. And this is a guy, whether you like his takes or not, I even have gone back and forth with Bank on Algorand in the past. And I don't hold any of that against anybody, going back and forth with anybody. But to not even be willing to stick around for a question from him, who he's the original guy on Reddit memeing about Algorand. And he's still here caring about it, wishing that there was some accountability, that something would change. He's years ago brought up the same thing. Where's the accountability? Where's the accountability? And everyone's like, next year, we plan on providing some accountability. All right, bro. Ibu says, I was really shocked they still have 14% of the supply even after all this. Do they? I mean, I guess they are the entire. We can look at CoinMarketCap in a second. It seems like foundation holdings are endless. Well, it certainly will be if they lift the supply cap. We about to see Bank On get doxxed. That would stop us being poor. I don't think he wants to be doxxed. 100 special people sounds like a school that I was sent to. The Lau brothers were correct when they eviscerated Algorand in May of 2022 on their podcast regarding state proofs. A dream never to be realized. Been downhill ever since. I know we were really excited about these state proofs, and it turns out, I guess, yeah. I mean, what happened to state proofs? And just you need other people to build stuff on other sides? I don't understand. Why did none of this? Why didn't the London Bridge? Why did none of this get built? So now we have what we have. Now we have something called fiat chain that we really don't understand what's going on, but there's no token. It seems to be the solution. And I don't know anything about this, guys. So I really don't think anybody does, because it was just like a little thing. But I think the value prop for fiat chain is that it's Algorand technology without the nuisance of a token. So that could be the draw to institutions that don't have to deal with that. There's just fiat. But why does that? I mean, I guess that competes with Circle and Tether because it will be decentralized. So we'll see. All right. Thanks, Stack. Love the Gov. What up, Crypto for Change? HODLNOT was huge, muddying the waters from investor eyes. So the captain, I think, is insinuating that HODLNOT was an inside game. Which, look, as a instinct-driven person, I don't know that you're wrong. I mean, there was a guy with a checkered past that was in charge of that. Had lots of friends in Singapore. Could be an inside game. Who knows? Where my dot at? Says Crypto for Change. HODLNOT was a big deal. It meant that they had to sell a lot during the bear market, and it's troubling that Terabellini could do it against the advice of Massimo. Yeah, that is troubling. And then it's also troubling the reaction that the questioning of Terabellini brought from Stacy. It was a bad time. And it certainly shook my conviction a long time ago. Top protein diet. Oh my God. Love. Laugh, love, laugh, live. What is it? Gub knows. When did Coop get this good looking again? Hey, man, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Somebody called me old, and I was like, fuck that, man. I'm a goddamn prince. Just kidding. The glow up is real. Look, you see me looking at myself? What moisturizer are you using? Well, Crypto for Change. Is there somebody calling me? Nope. Scam. Likely. This morning I used an exfoliator, a Nivea exfoliator. And then I use Ordinary products. I get them at Ulta Beauty. It's a low cost, high quality moisturizer, and I believe it's called Ordinary. Sometimes I put on some hyaluronic acid. I have a eye cream that Santa Claus gives me every year. Love my mother. All right. He got a new face light. It is the screen. He doesn't normally look like this. No, I think it truly is the shine off my fucking big old face. What's going to happen when John Wood leave? GG. Oh, boy. Let's not do that. Let's not worry about that. I got in an argument with, I think it's Kraken's alt yesterday, and it's like, look, I don't know. But all I do know is how little I give a shit that John Woods may have exaggerated the developer count on Algorand based on the amount of downloads of AlgoKit. in the initial stages of algo. I don't care. Why would you care? If you were long algo and he's trying to make it sound more exciting than maybe it is, like, dude. And then it's like, oh, but he blocked people that liked a post. I don't know if that's true. But if you were fucking annoying and everybody just kept on, every one of his comments were a bunch of idiots talking about how he lied about developer count, I'd probably block you to just go away type of vibe. So I don't know. That's still such a bad argument to me. And it was when I had to listen to that space. When my brain had to listen to that space, it was a really bad space done horribly by Kraken. It was so bad. If you want to question John's judgment at all, the fact that he participated in it and stayed there for so long is more of an indictment on his judgment than the 10,000 developer accusation. Did you follow that? I mean, I was in the middle of that sentence. I was like, "Are you going to be able to finish that to a point?" And I think I did. Good look at me. Governor's hat says they would indeed get a new CTO. It's true. It's true. It's true. He's not the end all be all. It wouldn't be good right now, but in the end, if things are cracking a bit, then John can move on to other things too. We all can move on to other things if you want. The captain says, yes, still 1.4 billion. It's wild. Like, damn, that's still a huge amount of capital. Yeah. But, to the point of Fisherman the other day on his post was still the amount that they sold in one quarter was like 12% of what they had left or something like that. So at that rate, but obviously she said that there was an intention to get the source code, I suppose, from Inc. and that fell through. I want to know what's going on with technologies. Like they have a responsibility. I think they have a responsibility to kind of give the community an update. Like what are their long-term vision? What's their plan? What are they doing? Do they still believe in Algorand? I mean, we have Silvio focused on fiat chain. Like, is Silvio still the de facto CEO of technologies? Like, I really, instead of getting these sort of hopeful comments from Stacy about what they plan to do in the future, I just, what is technologies doing now and what is their plan? Do they plan on selling out and leaving? Because it seemed like an obvious thing for them to do when the United States was cracking down hard, but now the United States is a place where they should be. Hopefully that's the reason why they're not dissolving, because they're like, well, we don't need to dissolve anymore. We thought we might have to, but we don't have to anymore. $100 dot bros versus 1 copper turtles. I got those dudes, bro. Send them. Put all the dot KOLs and me and a hammer. I need a hammer. Sorry, that's 100 dudes. That's going to be hard. You give me a hammer and those 100 dudes, I'm going to fucking hammer all those dudes in the head. No, I won't do that. That's violent. Silvio's an idealist who expected other chains to cooperate with him on his own design system, even though he is their direct competitor. It's noble, but it wasn't going to happen with that approach. I mean, fair. Yeah. That opinion applies to state proofs and probably will apply to fiat chain too. Lesson might not be learned. We also been in a rolling recession and high rates. So in terms of a risk curve, crypto startups are probably the last thing on normies' minds, let alone good VCs. Hopefully that changes soon. Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I didn't look much at the stock market today, but I think it's up, and it's because of these tech earnings, right? But how long does that last? I don't know where we're headed. I don't know what we're doing. So I just don't know. I wouldn't want to bet that we're going to end up in something worse than a recession. But you have Ray Dalio really sort of banging a drum on this could be worse than a recession type of deal. If the Feds ends QT, it's game on. Yeah, which they're gonna. And that might, what does it happen? It's happening next week or something? Like, I think the FOMC meeting is next week. They really, with the jobs numbers are weakening, payrolls went down today. I believe that the big jobs report is tomorrow. We're going to see this getting worse. Now, people think that the problem with this is, and I don't have like anything to really show you to back this up, but I'm almost positive this is true, is that sure, we might get the bad job numbers and they're going to have to cut rates. But usually once the Fed starts cutting rates, doesn't the market just tank, even though that's what we kind of want because we need the QT? I mean, we need the QE in order to pump assets. So I wouldn't be so convinced everything's going to be fantastic. But something like Bitcoin should do well if the Fed starts printing money again at a high rate. I don't know. Love Silvio, but he is not on the same business page as his competitors like Eamon and Tolley, the Avalanche and Solana guy. No, and he doesn't want to be, and he's not out there mixing it up. He did for a bit, and he doesn't want to do that. There's no risk of him going out there anymore. I mean, United States, at least, he could do whatever he wanted. He's not going to do that. He's pivoting to something different because he has calculated in some way, shape, or form that, based probably on his own experience, that they're not going to participate, do these things on Algorand. So he's trying to create a solution called Fiat Chain. And the hope from the Algorand community is that because it's another AVM chain that will link all that wonderful liquidity that could potentially draw, and it'll connect towards Algorand where absent cool shit could be built. So allow some more money to flow in. Ordered now. Who's going to say it? He's laughing. I don't understand. Ordered now. What did you order? 100 jaws or a gorilla? Who wins? We're going down hard when we do. Coop, I hope you don't end your QT-ness. Oh, yeah. We'll get a nice dumpola on our chest and then we rip. There you go. That's right. Well, there you go. So know that when they start cutting rates and if the market and the job market is collapsing and everybody's talking for a great recession or a great depression, and it's going to be the most epic, awful thing that has ever happened. And all of these people are doom and gloom. Just know that that's the buying opportunity. You have to know that. That's not when you sell. So don't be leveraged because that dump certainly could happen. And that is the opportunity because, you know, when you listen to these guys, a lot of times you listen to these macro guys, you listen to all these people and they talk about how bad everything is. They're very often not considering the tools that the feds will use. How you can just turn on liquidity and then debase the dollar. And you want to be in assets at that point because sure, the dollar's worth a hell of a lot less. Everything at the store just got a lot more expensive, but your assets became worth a lot more dollars. That's how you protect against that. So you want that freak out if you are smart enough to take advantage of it. Ammo's the ticker, says Matza. They missed a boat and fucked us all. Potentially. All right. Before I get off of this, let's go look at some of the normal show that we do. I'll go pretty quickly. We won't hang out for too long, but I am curious because I've been Algorand centric all day, listening to that space, listening to you guys, yeah. I mean, I hope I hope you enjoyed my opinion, or if you don't, if you disagree with me, it's okay. Like if you really do believe she's doing a good job, I could be wrong, and at this point, it doesn't really matter what I think. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still committed to this community. I like you guys. I want to be here. So it's all good. I'm going to continue to say what I think, but whatever. You know what I mean? Who cares? Hopefully you just enjoy my takes. That's it. All right, let's go to CNBC real quick and see what's going on. Okay, so Trump to nominate National Security Advisor Mike Waltz as UN ambassador. Are we good here? Yeah, you got me. Isn't Mike Waltz the guy that was just stepping down as a national security advisor because he accidentally put the Atlantic reporter in that signal chat, or am I getting these names wrong? And unfortunately, I don't care enough to actually click on that. Okay, so the Dow is up 250 points. The S&P 500 is outperforming the Dow, up 64% or 64 points, up 1% in a little bit. And NASDAQ is, so risk assets are outperforming both, up 2%, 365 points. That bodes well for the Bitcoin price that I've not looked at today. Dow rises 200 points to kick off May as Microsoft, Meta rekindle AI trade. Okay, that's why the NASDAQ is up so much, because people are running back or rushing back into AI stocks, I guess. U.S. Chamber of Commerce asked Trump for tariff exclusions to stave off a recession. Mercedes-Benz is going to add another vehicle to build in Alabama. Ryanair, which I believe is a low-cost British airway. Am I right about that? Or European airway, threatens to cancel a huge Boeing order if the tariffs raise their prices. It is Mike Waltz, expected to leave after Signal, but go to the UN. NVIDIA says Anthropic is telling tall tales in its defense of U.S. AI chip restrictions on China. All right, real quick, let's just see. Oil is, wow, it's sub $60. It's green, but I didn't look at it yesterday, so it's fallen below 60. Gold is okay. Gold's down. Damn, gold gave up almost 3% in 24 hours. That's and the fact that gold is so volatile is wild. Silver is also down 1%. Copper is bouncing a bit. We'll look at crypto in a second. All right. Let's just go quickly to the block. We'll look and see if there's any kind of breaking news here that I want to check out. Well, there's Bitcoin price at 93.8, but I need to refresh. And there you go. Okay, 96.5. Pretty good. Okay, WorldCoin is now coming to the United States. Tether says Treasury exposure. Yep, we're good. Neared 120 billion in Q1. This is why the United States loves stablecoins. Tether has $120 billion worth of U.S. Treasuries. And China is, definitely dumping, I think, treasuries in a way. So continuing demand for treasuries is a big deal to the United States. Coin market cap. SWI is up. That's where I was from the last show. So it looks like Bitcoin bounced, but it gave back some of that bounce in the last hour. Volume is kind of low, to be honest. ETH is also, Bitcoin's up 2.5% in the last 24 hours. Sub 2 trillion. XRP 222 sideways. SWI is still pumping, baby. 366 ahead of an unlock. When is that? Friday? Tomorrow? AVAX down. DOT sideways to down. Oh, yes, Thursday. The gardener's here. Oh, buddy, right outside. Give me the loudness. Algorand, right across the board. Still top 50, 21.5 cents, down almost 4%. So actually diving quick. Oof. Not diving quick. I mean, 3.5%. But down also on 24 hours, which most of its friends are not. An Algorand centric show. We're going to check out Vestige. Tiny. Monco sub $1 million market cap. Coop has made some gains. Back on that front page. Actually has more TVL than Monco. But I guess this is their stable TVL. All right. How is Bitcoin and gold? It's got to be climbing. Is this Bitcoin gold? Yeah. Yep. We're up to 30 ounces to a Bitcoin. So that's this. Look at this chart. Bitcoin's gaining on gold, folks. Sorry, you can look at it now. But yeah, look at this chart. Bitcoin's gaining on gold, folks. Do that again. It's back over. It just dipped below 30, but it is hovering around 30s, up almost 5% in the last 24 hours. So 4.5%. Pretty good. The dollar is probably strengthening. Yep, the dollar's up. All right. There you go. I'll stop sharing. We did it. Go back to the chat real quick. Make sure I get you guys. I think that market makers and big money don't pump algo. All the things we have going for us and other chain multi-billions of dollars that the market makers wanted it's just not our time yet. Cope. Yeah, I mean, look, we handed DWF a lot of ammo, and I think that they did pump it recently, obviously, and the foundation was able to exit some, I guess, potentially for this acquisition that didn't go through. Bro, I like green shit. Gimme. He likes the green. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to go. I know that leaf blower, which I think is kind of like the bane of my existence. Like I really hate that gardening tool. There's just blowing shit around. Bro. And it's loud. Like get a less loud blower, for the love of God. Yeah, but so I'll be here tomorrow and we're going to give away ammo. All right. I'll be here tomorrow. I'm going to give away ammo tonight. Even though I'm not a Warriors fan, the Warriors did not have a good showing last night. It is, I'm on my way to monetization on X, not because of my crypto takes, but because of my NBA Twitter. I every time, once in a while, my replies really catch on. I actually wasn't able to watch the end of that game because I gave up on it and I was in the car for most of it. But it does sound like they got it to 14 and then with like 7 or 8 minutes left last night, and Steve Kerr didn't put the starters back out. It just makes me feel like Steph and his hand were hurting, Jimmy and his tailbone were hurting, and the Rockets were just playing out of their mind. And he was like, all right, we'll see you in San Francisco. But yeah, you don't want to let too many opportunities go away. But I'm definitely a Warriors fan, but my son's a Clippers fan. I looked last night. Tonight's a must-win game. Game 6 at home. And tickets, I could get tickets for $59. And I was like, well, this would be a dereliction of my duty as a father of a basketball player and a sports fan than me not to pick up a couple of tickets and go hang out at Intuit Dome with him tonight and hopefully watch the Clippers win game 6 and then get this series back to Denver for a game 7. So go Clippers tonight. And I appreciate you guys. Cheers to you, Sam. And good luck, everybody. It's all love. I hope Stacy and team do a good job, and I would love to hear from Algorand Technologies and what their plan is. It would be cool to know, and make sure you support these guys that are in the community actually building things like Transaction Labs with John and Patrick and them, and D13 and the Folks Finance team, Tiny Man team, Alpha Arcade. What's going on in Alpha Arcade? They're friends of the show. We should actually look at Alpha Arcade before we go. Before I get off of this, let's just real quick look at Alpha Arcade, because that's what I want to do. I thought I was betting on the Timberwolves to beat the Lakers in one game, but I accidentally made the bet that they would win the series. And I was like, oh, Jesus, I think that probably the Lakers will win the series. They did not win the series. They did not do a good job against that young Timberwolves team. It's, look, I know a lot of people hate on LeBron James, but I've been watching that guy since he was in high school. He's like the original, like on ESPN high school basketball player. He was an exciting damn basketball player from the very beginning of his journey. And he has been an absolute dominant freak in this league for decades. And even though he should be slowing down, it is a bit sad watching him slow down. There it is. Oh, yeah. Just give me some more. All right. So just come on. I want to come in. Just blow shit on me. So you got the Clippers. Will they advance past the Nuggets? So you guys really think that the Clippers will win at home tonight? I think that too. At least I'm hopeful. A lot of NHL. I'm not really up on NHL, so I'm not going to say whatever. But 120K in 2025, 34% yes. I think that might happen. I think that's a good thing. I think that happens. Maybe I should just put a little flyer on that for fun. I think we're pretty close to a recession, a technical recession. Well, I mean, look, folks. This is free money if you're willing to lock it up for the year. There's free money to be had on will FIFA launch a token on Algorand in 2025? They, in fact, will not. All right. You can bet on who's the next pope. Not really on it. Anyways, Alpha Arcade is the shit. It's a great project on Algorand that should be a nice retail tool for everybody to enjoy their time on chain. What am I fucking saying? All right. Anyways. All right, guys. Anybody? You have anything you want to say to me? There you go. Let's fucking go. All right. Later, Coop. Later, Caddy Smooth. I'll see you.